Well, for more on this now, let's speak to Tornike Gordadze, Georgia's former Europe minister and a fellow at the Jacques Delors Institute. He joins us now on the line. Thank you for speaking with us, Mr. Gordadze. First off, quite simply, your reaction to these new rules restricting contestation against the ruling government.
First of all, Mr. Ivanishvili is not considered as a legitimate president by most of the Georgians. He's called a de facto president by the Georgians, and even when the EU or United States address him, they call him him or the new prime minister as the representatives of the ruling party, Georgian Dream. So his decisions are not considered as legitimate by most of people who are asking for new elections. Mr. Ivanishvili was chosen by this billionaire Bidzina Ivanishvili to destroy any independent institution in this country and to leave Mr. Ivanishvili as the only source of power. Mr. Ivanishvili was a football player, as your journalist said before. He has no education, no diploma. His application was rejected when he applied to be the president of the football federation of the country. So his decision to sign these new draconian laws are not recognized as legitimate by people, but it is clearly the copy of the repressive draconian laws that exist in Russia and Belarus, and these laws and amendments aimed at destroying the protests that we see in the streets of Tbilisi for 2 months now, every day. Even yesterday, there was yesterday evening a huge rally, and tonight most of the population of this city will celebrate the new year in the streets of Tbilisi in front of the parliament and demanding again for new elections.
You were Europe minister in Georgia. Adhesion to the EU has a lot of popular support. We mentioned it in our package earlier. About 80% of the population is in support of it. What happens to that movement now in the face of such repression?
The movement will continue, and people will staunchly continue to come and to rally every day. I'm not sure the regime is able to enforce all these draconian laws, because so far we have 51 political prisoners since the rallies have started, people who are accused preparing a coup d'etat. Among them, you see 18 years old kids or some very young protesters of 20, 24 years old, some of them. And they are facing charges that can, they can be sentenced to 7-9 years of prison. But it didn't stop Georgians from rallying. And if the regime continues arresting people, it will bring more people in the streets. That's why I'm doubting how they will be able to implement all these amendments that they brought to the law. Just for the formal side of this event, Mr. Ivanishvili was given few hours to read 28 new amendments that were prepared for him. I'm sure he even didn't read it, considering the speed he can also, in reading documents or understanding them. And one of the representatives of the ruling party, when he was asked, did the president really read all these 28 amendments? He said, ironically, yes, he read and even he understood them. So you see the tragicomic situation in Georgia regarding this new self-proclaimed president.
We mentioned the man backing the Georgian Dream party and the new president, the billionaire oligarch with ties to the Kremlin, Bidzina Ivanishvili. What can you tell us about him more than what we know? What are his real motivations here? Is he a real staunch defender of conservative values, as Georgian Dream Party professes that he is, or what are their economic motivations behind his actions?
Look, when it comes to the values, this party, Georgian Dream, has started in 2011, 2012 to be a left-wing populist party. They were promising free money for everyone, rising salaries and pensions, etc. And in few years' time, from the left, they became far-right party, and now they are associated with AfD in Germany and Viktor Orban's far-right Fidesz party. So the ideology doesn't really mean anything for them. The only reason they are now conservative is to because they lost the support of all mainstream forces, and they in their populist the stance now they criticize European Union, and they try to scare Georgian population, saying that European Union means LGBT rights, the same-sex marriage, war with Russia, etc. So these conservative values are just instrumentalized by this government to keep power. And Mr. Ivanishvili personally has ties with Russia. He was recently sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury Department under the register of Russian influence agents. So it shows clearly his ties with the Russian Federation and the Russia's influence on their neighbors.
Tornike Gordadze, thank you so much for your insights. That's all we have time for, unfortunately. As a reminder, you are Georgia's former Europe minister and a fellow at the Jacques Delors Institute.